Hey, my name's Scott. I'm going to show you how to use this 360 camera on this monopod along with this mini tripod. Connect them all together and then use the iPhone app from Cupix SLAM iPhone app to take a set of 360 photos in a property really quickly, really easily, in a couple of minutes. Upload them all to Cupix and create a 3D tour, an actual 3D tour you can navigate around, take measurements from, compare it with 3D CAD, a whole lot of neat workflows. Alright, so this is a selfie stick. First thing we're going to do is take the camera out of the bag. Sometimes I like to leave the camera in the bag while I'm doing this, but right now I've got the camera out of the bag, so I'll twist this on. And the camera's connected. Okay, I'm going to extend this pole out a little bit, like so. And then I'm going to attach this mini tripod. You can see how this works. Opens up. I'm going to connect the camera onto the mini tripod. There we go. Okay, and now we're set. Okay, so we got this thing set up and placed on the ground right behind me, and that's ready to go. I'm going to power on the camera. And okay, so we're doing a fresh install of the Cupix app. We're going to open it up and then see what the app tells us. So welcome to Cupix SLAM. Cupix SLAM helps you capture a site in 3D like a pro. It directly controls the 360 camera via Wi-Fi connection. All right, so let's turn on the Wi-Fi of the camera. We're going to need that in a second. Uses ARKit. I've got one of the latest phones from iPhone 8 Plus. Apple 8 Plus iPhone, and then you can do a one-button upload of all the captured data onto the Cupix server to create a 3D tour. Sounds awesome. I can use a Ricoh Theta. I have one of those up there. I can use a Xiaomi Mi Sphere. I have one of those on loan, and I can use the MadVenture 360. I've got that Wi-Fi trying to connect. I need to have enough image overlap to map 360 photos precisely. So that means is if I'm walking out that door, then I would just take a couple of photos. So take a couple extra photos as I'm walking out that door. If I'm making a hard left or a hard right, it probably makes sense to take a photo at that hard left or that hard right. So wherever there's T's or L junctions or narrow hallways, take extra photos. Okay, so the software analyzes the 360 photo positions precisely by analyzing the image overlap to get the best results. Take more 360 photos at doorways, corners, hallways, and locations where the line of sight is limited. So anytime that there's a change in line of sight, take an extra photo. The software is, the application is going to track your location as you're moving around. So if you are moving around, it's tracking your location. All right, so that's really good. And when we're done, we can upload the files, it seems, so we can submit the capture either by taking the photos that we capture and bringing them onto the phone and then uploading them first, or downloading them onto the phone and uploading them all together, or uploading from this guy and then uploading from two different sources of data, and then we'll let the application do its analysis. Okay, so we're gonna sign in here. I'm just gonna type in my login. Okay, get logged in, and now we can create a new tour, append a section, continue capture. All those I'm sure are really meaningful, but create a new tour is most meaningful for me. So now we're gonna call this a sample tour, and if I had an existing tour, I could add to that. If I had an existing tour, I could continue with that. Right now we're creating a new tour. So I want to create a tour. There's a couple different methods. Rough with no 3D mesh. That's if we don't care at all about the integrity of the 3D tour. So we're not going to do that. We're not going to do accurate with no 3D mesh because we won't have a mesh in this case. It's not really necessary. You usually toggle between these two. I'm going to do accurate with 3D mesh. We'll go on to the next shooting method. And auto interval is the first one that's up there, and it's actually the choice that you can use almost all the time, which is the auto interval shoot. The only two other methods that you're going to use are going to be a tripod-based method, hide and shoot. You can see this is on a tripod or a monopod, and half, again, on a tripod or a monopod. So we might follow up the initial shoots that we have holding the camera. It's not going to be on my helmet. I'm gonna hold it with my hand after we do the auto interval shoot. So let's choose that. The type of space is going to be an indoor space. The house that I'm in is on the smaller size, so I'm going to do indoor with a narrow space. Now, if it's outside of a building or in the pure outdoors, like on a golf course or at a park, I might use an outdoor setting. If I'm outside of a building, like on city streets or in between buildings or on the perimeter of the building or on the roof of a building, I might use outside of a building. But in this case, narrow space, we're inside of a house. Okay, I can set a floor plan image. If I have a floor plan image, I could also use aerial images. For example, I could use provide access to the app to set and look for the aerial view of the property that I'm at, which happens to be this one right here. So I could use this as a background view. I could just, I guess there's no way to cancel out. So I'm going to use that as the background view. I've got a camera height of 1.5 meters. I'm in the US, so I'm going to change this to feet by tapping on settings. I'm going to go back to capture and continue where I left off. The settings has a couple of other tools like what team I'm in, what workspace I'm going to be uploading to, a couple of different options like tags that could be meaningful for categorizing a tour. But in this case, all I really care about is the unit, so I switch those to feet. I'm going to be holding the camera right about here over my head, as I'm walking around, and or in front of me. So I might just be holding the camera right in front of me as I walk around, snapping photos. This parameter is not super important, so I'm going to use, if I left it at 7, it'd probably be fine. If I left it at 5 and I'm holding the camera in front of me, or 4.5 and holding the camera in front of me, it probably doesn't matter. In this case, I'm probably going to do more of this hold the camera in front of me approach because I've got some narrow doors that I don't want to run into. So I'm going to leave this at 4.5 because if I hold it above my head, then and I run into the door, then the camera lens breaks and it's already scratched, so I don't want to break the camera lens. I set the distance interval options. These are usually set for you based on the type of environment that you're in. I'm going to set this distance interval at 6 feet, which is about the right size for this kind of space. I've got a wall-to-wall width of about 6 or 7 feet, 8 feet in this room. The kitchen's pretty narrow. The hallways are pretty narrow. I'm going to take extra photos in the hallway. But this house isn't very big, so the distance interval I'm going to keep pretty tight. If I've got a bigger house or bigger space or an open hallway, bigger rooms, more like something like a hotel, for example, these might be really big values, 9, 10, 11, 12 feet, even though it's an indoor space. But for this little house, I'm going to set a distance interval of 6 feet. So every 6 feet as I walk around, as you can see from the graphics, it's going to take a shot. The countdown beep is going to let me know when I've hit 6 feet. So if I wanted to pause, and pausing is good because if I'm taking photos, I'm running around taking a photo, and I'm getting slight motion blur as I'm moving around. But if I'm told that I need to pause and I take a photo, and then I move a little bit, tell myself I need to pause, take a photo, and I stop moving, and then I tell myself to pause, or the app's telling me to pause, take a photo, then I'm pausing, so there's no motion blur. The camera's still, nothing's moving. So one option is just to keep on moving. I ignore the beep and just keep on moving. You'll get a little bit of motion blur. This is an action cam, so action cams are pretty good at taking images in low light. So even if there is some motion, it's not going to be the end of the world because it's a fast exposure. But if I wanted a lot of control, then I'm going to listen for that countdown beep. I'll have 1.5 seconds to slow down. I'll get a beep, I'll slow down, I'll take the photo, and then I can move again. And once I hit 6 feet again, I'll hear the beep, and then I can slow down and take a photo. There's this option, don't shoot if I'm moving. I can leave that on, but I'm going to listen to the beep, so I'm going to use my audible controls to audible senses to make sure I slow down. Once I have that done, ready to shoot, so I'm going to press the ready to shoot button. And I'm not connected to the 360 camera, so let's get myself connected. I think I had this on, so let me just go over to my settings tab. Here we go, settings. Wi-Fi I'm going to change to the name of this camera. Okay, I hear the beep, I'm not connected. So now if I go back to ready to shoot, should be connected to the camera. Yeah, I'm connected to the camera. And what the app is asking me to do is to slowly scan my surroundings, including the ground. So scan a little bit of the ground. Okay. Okay, and then the app now is telling me that I'm on tracking. So now that I'm on tracking, I can pick up the camera and start taking some photos. So I'm gonna take a full photo of this. I'll start in this area of the house. Let's see, my first photo is gonna be right on top of my desk. So I'll press the start button. Okay, so I got my first photo. There's that 1.5 second delay, so that I know to stay still. Okay, and now I'm going to press the manual shoot again. I haven't moved at all. My camera's staying still. So my net movement is pretty much nothing. But now I'm going to kind of send this out a little bit further, and then I'm going to start taking some photos. Okay, I've now walked 6 feet. Walked another 6 feet. And it's kind of narrow in here. So just make sure I get enough photos. Okay, and now I'm going to go out through this door. See what's out here. Just take enough photos as I'm walking around. Okay, and there's actually somebody sleeping in the other room, so not going to wake them up. So I've captured a lot of photos here, probably more than I need to, a lot more than I needed to. But more is not bad. Having too few is going to be a problem. If I don't have a connection between certain areas, that's going to be a problem. So having too many photos is not an issue. I'm going to end the capture, and I'm going to press save and quit. And now I've got a note that says I can just swipe right to download the photo. So right now I'm connected through Wi-Fi to the camera. So let's swipe right and download the photos. So swipe right on the sample tour and press download. So this has got 23, 24, 25 photos starting at 0. And I'm going to let this download. So this should only take a minute or two, I'm going to guess. 10, 11, 12, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. Okay, so I have all the photos downloaded from this camera. What I'm going to do now is hit this sample tour to submit it. So now I'm going to go and submit this tour. It's I got an address. I can insert an address if I wanted to here. I can enter a description if I wanted to. I could take a photo. I might just take a photo of the camera, for example, just to show it's like a demo. All right, so I'll use this photo, and I can now submit this tour. So if I submit this tour, what's going to happen is it's going to ask me, am I going to submit the photos, which I downloaded with my phone, along with all the route data or the path data that I collected by walking around and using the camera's location tools to locate myself. And yeah, I wanted to do that, so I'm going to submit with that the photos that are on the phone along with the route data all together. And it's asking me, do I want to use my cellular data? No, I don't want to use my cellular data. I'm just going to switch to my Wi-Fi network. Got pretty high-speed network here, so I'm going to say submit again, submit capture data and photos, and this should start to upload. So shouldn't take too long, maybe a couple of minutes. It's created a new tour. That's what the first dialog said. Now it says it's submitting photos 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So this is going to take about a minute to get all these photos. Okay, submitted it. It's put it into the queue. Okay, so we're set. But we really didn't show the floor plan, workflow all that much. We can look at that on another day in another video. It's pretty straightforward. But we do have that tour submitted, so it's been submitted right now. So let's end this video, and then we'll take a look at the tour inside on the computer. Okay, so now we're back on the PC. I'm looking at the Chrome browser. I've logged into Cupix. This is my account, and here's the sample tour that I uploaded. 25 photos, 168 megabytes, sounds about right. So this is being processed right now. So we'll just wait a couple of minutes and see what happens. After the tour gets processed, we should have a mesh, we'd have a completed tour, and we'll have part of this house, not including any of the areas where people are sleeping. Okay, so we're back. I just got an email that says that the tour was finished, so let's take a look at the tour and see where it's at. It says it's still calculating the meshes. I'm going to hit the refresh button and see what happens. Okay, tour's done. Sample tour, the one I just completed. So started around 9:40 or so. It's about 10:10, so about half an hour it took to upload and process and get everything done. So let's take a look and see what we got here. All right, so we actually have a missing we got two sections. So we took 25 photos. I expected 25 of them to be connected. One of them wasn't connected. Let's figure out why. All right, this was taken the back of the garage, way over there, way in the corner, and I probably didn't take a photo close enough to it. So if I look at these photos and toggle through, yeah, it looks like I have no photos that are really close to that photo in the far corner. So probably should have taken an extra photo back there. This is not a super important photo. It's got some shoes in it, kids shoes, adult shoes, a lot of shoes. So we're gonna say that's not really important here. All right, so let's look at the layout and see what we got, and then we'll decide if we want to mix that missing photo in with everything else. We can see that the photos here are 24 of them. If we look back at the overview, we got 24 in one, so we should have 24 photos right here. And then that one photo, that single photo, is just right here. It's in the middle of, it's not really aligned, not really associated with anything. I can see that it's, if I undo some of the changes here, it is guessing the location based on the ARKit information, ARKit data. Really, it's more like it's located here. So that looks a bit more appropriate. All right, so we go from here to here. Yeah, you can see that. So that looks about right. All right, so that wasn't too painful of a fix. And now we have this tour. So that's me holding the camera up and walking around, taking photos of the space. Here's where we are right now, just right on top of the, right here, this is where we were half an hour ago. We opened the door up, propped the door open, and walked out of the door. I went over in this direction, and then that's basically it. All right, so this tour has been all set up, all calculated. We got the sleeping people back there, bathroom over there, Christmas tree over there. So everything's been calculated, and it's that easy. So you capture the tour, upload the files, and then from here you can do all sorts of things like create a schematic floor plan, create a schematic drawing. You can do things like take measurements. If I want to measure things, I can take 3D measurements. I can do things like publish this and post it onto Facebook or Google. I can post this to Google Street View. I want to do that with this house. I can put in a push pin or add 3D text. So all sorts of things you can do, and it all starts with the tour that you've captured and uploaded to Cupix.